Airport, drove to Nashville, man. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Would like to welcome everyone to the December meeting of the Walton County Planning Commission. A little chilly out there, not quite as bad as it was right after Thanksgiving, but yet for, as I made a comment here a while ago, for us folks who were blessed once in life with something to cover the top of our head that no longer have it, this cool weather makes a little bit of a difference. So
Sounds like you talking about me.
I wasn't talking about you, Tim, but we, you know, there is something. Maybe it's our name. Yeah. So
I have a hole in the natural.
yeah. But I would really like to thank all of y'all for taking time to be with us tonight. If you ever are interested in any of our meetings and you can't make it here in person, you can join us at Walton County Facebook Live and watch us there. The cases that we hear tonight will move to the Board of Commissioners on January the 7th, and tentatively, the next Planning Commission will be in February. So, with that, I am going to ask Tim Kemp, as soon as I get finished up right here, I'm going to ask him to say a prayer for us. And then as soon as he finishes up with his prayer, if you all would join us and we'll say the pledge together.
Let us bow. Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening in thanksgiving and praise. We thank you for all the things that you've done for us and all that you're about to do. Heavenly Father, as we make decisions concerning the development of this great county and this great state in which we live, Lord, let the decisions be beneficial for all that are involved in this community. Heavenly Father, we ask you for your blessings. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join us for the pledge. All right. Thank you so very much for that. I'd like for our roll call to show that all members are present with the exception of Josh Ferguson. And I would like to welcome Chris Alexander here tonight. Tonight's Chris's first night joining us on the Planning Commission. We're certainly privileged to have him and thankful that he is here. So, Chris, welcome aboard.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To it.
Great. And with that, hopefully all of the board members have had a chance to look over our minutes from our last meeting. And if there's no errors or omissions, I will take a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Make a motion that the minutes be approved as read.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Thank you so very much. So we will move straight into our agenda for this evening. We do have a case that was tabled last month, so that will come up under old business. Once we complete that, then we'll move on to new business for the month. Just a couple of housekeeping items. So I'm going to ask the applicant to step up, our representative first, presentation, and then I will get with you folks if there's anyone here in opposition. We have, quote unquote, a 10-minute rule that we follow as closely as we possibly can, but we also want to hear from as many people as we can. So with that being said, if you raise your hand and I call you and you come up to the podium, I'm going to ask that you present and also be conscious of the others who would like to speak. And if someone speaks before you, it would be really, really great if we can hear anything that you may have that would be different. In other words, that we're not repetitive of the same things. And we thank you for doing that. So with that, Z241-00002, This is to rezone 52.794 acres from A1 to R1 OSC for residential subdivision. Applicant owners Alcovey Development Group LLC. The site's located at Alcovey Station Road. And Andrea, I think you've got this one, so if you would step up, tell us what your plans are.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'm Andrea Gray. This evening, I have the pleasure of representing Alcovey Development Group and the request for the development of Green Valley Farms. The specific request is to rezone 52.794 acres on Alcovey Station Road from A1 to R1 OSC to develop Green Valley Farms as a conservation-focused development with 47 high-quality homes. Here's a location map. You can see that the property is located just south of the city limits of Jersey and just east outside of the Cornish Creek watershed protection area on the east side of Alcovey Station Road, which seems to be the ridge that runs through that area. So none of the protections that are required for the Cornish Creek watershed protection area apply to our property. Here's another location map. You can see how it's located within the other areas. This is a portion of what was Greendale Farm, so it's the southern portion of that property. Here you'll see the comprehensive plan. The property is in the suburban character area under the 2022 comprehensive plan, which states that that area is planned to accommodate the majority of new residential growth in the county, and the R1 OSC zoning is allowed in this character area. Here's a site plan, and I did email you a copy of this. From the site plan, you can see that starting with the entrance, we've got a very attractive entrance sign. That was my first slide that I showed you, so an upgraded entrance. The road leading in will be curb and gutter, so we're not doing the rural residential, we're doing a full curb and gutter development here. We've got the 47 lots and 3 cul-de-sacs there, so we've got it nicely laid out in keeping with the topography of the land. There's over 25.9% open space on this property. The lot sizes range from 0.59 to 1.05, and this is all allowed under the OSC zoning. So we are not asking for any variances whatsoever. We are meeting all the requirements of that zoning designation. There'll be a mandatory HOA on the property, sidewalks, street lights, underground utilities. And you'll see on this site plan a couple things. One is that fronting on Alcovey Station Road are 9 2-acre lots that are being developed, not part of the subdivision, but those are being individually developed today. Those are under construction, or some of them are under construction today. We're proposing, and this is an add from our original application, to do evergreen plantings along what is actually the western border. I'm sorry that I sent you a letter saying the southern, but I'm directionally challenged, so that was all me. It's on the western border where you see the green trees located on the site plan here to help screen visibility from properties that are on Alcovey Station Road. There's also an existing 5-acre property. You'll see there towards the northern side. That's not included in the development. That's an existing home that was part of this homestead, and that's going to be sold as a separate parcel. So we didn't use that to calculate green space or any of those things. It'll be separated out from the site plan. We are proposing to exceed the OSC standards with regard to the houses being built. The ordinance requires 1,800 square feet for single and 2-story homes, and we're proposing to do 2,200 for single-story and 2,400 for 2-story. Our density is a little bit less than the ordinance requires, and our open space is a little bit more. Local builder K&M Homes, who's represented here tonight, will be building the 47 homes in this development. They are also developing the 9 homes that front on Alcovey Station Road. Very high quality homes, a variety of architectural styles, a mix of materials including cement siding, stone, brick accents, various roof pitches, board and batten details, a mix of 2- and 3-car garages, and sodded front yards. And here are some additional representative photos. I put a lot of them in the application, but just wanted to give you some representative photos here tonight. Some of the key points about this development is that it is consistent with the comprehensive plan. It's consistent with the R1 OSC zoning. We're not asking for any variances. It's consistent with the market demand for quality homes on manageable lots. It's consistent with the market demand for neighborhoods, for the traditional interior road neighborhoods versus the, the 2-acre lots fronting on a main road. And it's consistent with the conservation initiatives of the county. That is the whole purpose of the OSC zoning, is to allow for open space to be put together so that it's more beneficial to the environment versus breaking it up into individual lots. We appreciate you tabling the application at the last meeting. It gave us an opportunity to coordinate with some of the nearby property owners. We were able to meet with them downstairs after that meeting for about an hour. Based on that meeting, we got some contact information, sent an email out to everyone who gave us contact information with an additional information sheet, with a digital copy of the site plan so that they could zoom in and look at it, and then with a sign-up genius for them to pick a time to do an individual call or meeting. We offered times in the evenings, on the weekends, and during the weekdays. We got one taker on our offer, and we had a very nice conversation with one of the nearby property owners. But collectively from that input, the key issues that we heard was the visibility of the development from Alcovey Station Road, home values, lot sizes, and then traffic and speed in the area. And so based on what we heard from those meetings, we took a look at our application and what we could do with the site plan and the things that we can control. We can't control everything. Wow, who's clicking? There we go. So based on the things that were in our realm of control, we're proposing to add 13 conditions to the zoning to help address some of those concerns that we heard. And I gave you a letter that spells these out, and this is just a copy paste of what was in that. But the first was to do the evergreen plantings along the western property line. Of course, 25% open space, mandatory HOA with design and build covenants and restrictions to make sure it maintains its value for a long time. Again, the minimum square footages, we're willing to agree to well above the ordinance requirements with 2,200 for a ranch and 2,400 for a 2-story. The lots will, of course, be graded so that water flows away from the homes into stormwater ditches. We're going to upgrade to a curb and gutter, and the minimum overall density would be the 1 unit per acre with a maximum of 47 lots. And then minimum yard size, front 40 feet, rear 40 feet, side 15 feet. All the homes will comply with specific regulations in all of the zoning category designations. And all the dwelling facades will be wood, siding, cement siding, brick, stone, stucco, or other masonry type product, absolutely no vinyl or aluminum siding. Yards will have sod per county standards. All shingles will be architectural. And again, there'll be an architectural review committee that will approve all of the fencing, because we have one builder doing the houses, it'll also be approved of the houses, but also of all the ancillary structures and whatnot that go into the development. So again, our request is to rezone to R1 OSC, subject to the 13 conditions that we've outlined. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Andrea. Any questions from the board? Thank you. Is there anyone here opposed to this zoning request? Is there anyone designated to speak on behalf of a group of you guys?
I think Warlock has the most knowledge. I mean, she's not going to speak on behalf of all of us, but she has an awful lot of knowledge.
Okay. I'll allow you to come up, ma'am, first, and I will get to as many of you as I can. Again, please be considerate of the time request and restraints that we have. And also, for any of you who may come up after her, if there's something she doesn't cover, you hear something she don't cover that concerns you, you let me know when she's finished. I'll allow you to come up. But if y'all start repeating what she's already said, then we're going to move on, okay? Thank you.
Hey, thank you for allowing me to take the time.
State your name and your address, please, ma'am.
My name is Alicia Warlock, and I live at 2505 Turner Ridge. I have property that actually directly backs up to the rezone applicants.
Okay, can I get somebody to pop up that, the map, please? If you want to just do the preliminary that Andrea had up a while ago is fine with me.
I mean, I have something written if you want me to go ahead and start, or,
Oh, you can, I just want to, let us get this up so that we can get a reference point as to where.
Is that what you wanted the votes on?
No, if I can get Andrea's, her site plan on there, that's fine with me. Is that good with you guys? Yes. Yeah, I think we can make a determination from that. Hang in there, folks. AI is coming.
uh-oh.
There we go. Whoop.
There's a different one.
Thank you so very much. All right. If you could kind of give us an idea, I think we can actually see where those out parcel lots are on the front there. So if you can just give us a reference point of where your property, that's your property there?
So that is my property.
All right, very good. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Carry on.
Okay. My name is Alicia Warlock, and I am here in opposition to the rezone. I would like to preface that I do not oppose development, but support controlled development. My family and I call Walton County our home and have lived here for nearly 25 years. Prior to, we fled the overdeveloped and uncontrolled Gwinnett County growth. At the last minute, the rezone was tabled on the basis the applicant needed more time to speak with those in the area. After the rezone was tabled and rescheduled for the meeting being held tonight, I and other neighbors had a chance to speak with the applicant's legal representative outside the courthouse. We explained that we would like to maintain the A1 zoning designation and that is prominent in the area. There is no other R1 in that area. We explained that we would like to maintain the A1 zoning designation that is prominent in the area, tracts with a minimum of 2 acres, as larger tracts are more desirable and sought upon. Their legal representative basically stated that was not possible and unreasonable to consider. As a developer or businessman, you would think that you would not purchase the property before rezoning in order to guarantee an economic return on the investment, or at least write a contract that was contingent upon the rezone. Therefore, the statements their legal representative asserts in the application claiming the rezone denial would restrict said property in an unreasonable manner or is considered unconstitutional or discriminatory is purely self-inflicted, poor planning on their part, and intended to force the hand of the county to rezone in fear of a lawsuit. And might I mention that the restrict said property in an unreasonable manner, unconstitutional and discriminatory are quotes from their application. Let's see, we are right. let's see, okay, let's see where I am. Let's be clear, nobody forced them to purchase the property. So we are not asking for anything other than to continue the zoning in our area. Keep it A1. Everything around us is A1. I have a couple of bullets that I want to just lay out real quick, and then I would like to give other people a chance to speak. All properties in the area, including new homes being built are on acreage and maintain the A1 zoning. That's in the entire area. The infrastructure, primarily the little town of Jersey, is not capable of handling the traffic brought on by R1 housing developments at this time. One of the questions that I have is, has there been a DOT study conducted to assure the infrastructure can handle the R1 rezone? And as a community, we do not want to set precedent in the area for R1, even with the OSC designation. And an OSC designation would not even be necessary if you had larger lots. And that's all that I really have to say on that, other than I would like to bring up the comprehensive plan for that area does indicate suburban, which does allow for R1. But just because you can doesn't always mean you should. That's what we're pretty much saying. Traffic is an issue as it is now. You know, we're only building on 2-acre lots in that area, and there is a lot more traffic. We've been out there. We built 5 years ago, and we have a 6.5-acre tract. And just the development in the last 5 years has been unfathomable. I can't believe it. And it's primarily people looking for larger lots, larger homes. When the legal representative for the applicant stated that there was no variances proposed, typically variances are not proposed at this time. It's usually during construction. You would request an administrative variance. So at any time, the developer can request an administrative variance and can be granted without coming before the board. The open space, yes, it's over 25%, it's 25.9, but again, if you have larger tracts, there's really not a need to have that OSC designation. And the contact with the neighbors, I did put my information down for the legal representative to contact me. I did not put an email down because I prefer direct contact on the phone. My husband, on the other hand, did put down his email, and he was contacted, but I was not contacted directly. So I look at it as, were they really interested in trying to find a resolution? I don't think so. I just think they were just trying to make themselves look better. So that's all I have to say. You have any questions for me?
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thanks.
Who else is here in opposition that would have something to add that was not added by this opponent? Yes, ma'am. Please step up and state your name and tell us what your concerns are.
My name is Renee Wallen. I live on Dally Trail. A lot of the things that were brought up to Ms. Gray at the last meeting when you had us go on the front porch, she thought we were concerned with the aesthetics, and we told her, no, we're concerned. This is a rural area, and we want it to stay rural. It's agricultural, and you're turning it into...
Okay, I'm going to stop you. That's the same thing we just heard this lady say
Well,
of the 2-acre, wanting the 2-acre lots and that zoning.
Okay, but what she-
I asked if there's something you can
There is
add
something
that was different.
different.
Okay, would you state
Why-
that for me?
Yes, why we want it, and Ms. Gray didn't hear us because she kept going on about the aesthetics and the fancy sign of the subdivision. And yes, I got an email, and it was just what you're looking at now. It wasn't any of the things we addressed, like the light pollution, the runoff. She's saying it's going to be curbs and paved streets. We have Alcovey, we have the Big Flat Creek, we have a lot of little feeder creeks. that all run through our property. When I say we're all agricultural, that means there's people with livestock, beekeepers, so these, and she even stated, when we asked why it couldn't stay 2 acres, her words said, well, it's so much easier to sell half-acre lots, and people that move out there, they don't want to take care of 2 acres. They're also then, if they don't want to take care of 2 acres, they're not going to like all the smells associated with the poultry and the cows and the
So-
goats.
And so while you're there, I want to answer that so that I don't omit it, because we also, I think, heard that earlier. And I will say this is a bit of a personal opinion, but I think I could probably find somebody here that would say it's also somewhat of a professional opinion. There's no developer going to go in and put infrastructure into that property for 2-acre lots. Your yield is not enough to pay for the cost of the streets. You raise your lot cost so much you can't do anything. So that's why when you have the lots like are out front, where you have no infrastructure improvement and you use the main county road, you can do that because you don't have infrastructure improvement. But when you improve infrastructure,
I understand
you can't make
all
it
of
work with 2 acres. It won't work. I don't know a developer that'll work for it. Maybe there's one I don't know.
I understand that.
But I've never seen one.
Well, then you bring up the point, she touched on it. Why would someone, if they didn't, if they just wondered whether or not they were going to get this approval, go to that kind of expense? It's almost like they knew that they were going to get the approval for the half-acre lots. So my question, I'm not even getting
I'm gonna,
into the...
and I want to answer that for you.
Okay.
So I'm best off if I do this, I found. I'm not going to say this is the case, and Andrea sitting back there, she can give me a nod. Has the applicant closed on this property? Okay. Most often applicants have not closed on a property when they make the request, so therefore the contract's contingent upon their ability to obtain zoning. In this case, the owners are, or the applicant's already closed on it, but it is a confined piece of property. In other words, it doesn't have the frontage that those 9 lots have out front, so you got to have an access point. And therefore, the improvement of development and the infrastructure improvement is either you're going to sell the property as its totality. How much frontage, Sharna, does this property have? Either y'all know that right offhand, how much frontage you guys have on Alcovey Station? Can you give me a proximity? There's 50 feet out front on Alcovey Station for access to this property? 60 feet? So you got basically enough to put a street in. No way to divide it from the street. Thank you. That's the point I'm trying to make. They would have to have, it's county waters there, so that's 150 feet per home. There's nothing really that can either be done except sell it in its totality or develop it into a residential neighborhood. So, but you can carry on. So hopefully I answered that as I got to it.
Well, but the issues are not being addressed. That as a rural area, and now you're putting in a subdivision with 47 homes, the water quality is going to be affected, especially with the she looks at it as a positive, I look at it as a negative. They're going to have a homeowners association. I guarantee at least 15% of those people are going to have lawn service, which means pesticides and the runoff going into our little creeks that feed the livestock, not to mention the wildlife, the noise pollution, the light pollution, the schools that we're going to need, the police, the fire. We don't have the infrastructure. And I have a question then for each of you, and since you're here in your positions to serve the public, and we all would like to know, every month we come to the meetings, the commission meetings, the planning meetings, and everyone says in the rural areas, we want it to stay rural. Walton County was rural. Why do each of you, and if you don't, tell me, but why does the board seem to want to change Walton County into just a suburb, basically, of Atlanta? And number two, I don't understand, and I would really like an answer, this is not a rhetorical question, why do the voice of a few developers speak louder than all of the citizens that pay taxes? She kept going on, Andrea kept going on about how this is going to increase your property values. We don't care. All that does is increase our taxes. She also kept going on about how aesthetically pleasing they would be. We said, we don't care. Well, there's maybe a half dozen different designs. The hallmark of a rural area, when you drive down any country road, any road in rural
10 minutes.
America, the homes are not cookie cutter out of a cookie press. They're all custom homes, each one different from the other. And I'm not talking about having the garage on the left side or the right side, and one being green and one being white. They're basically different homes, individuals, because most people that live in a rural area are individuals. She kept going on that people don't want to take care of 2 acres, then stay in the city. I mean, there's plenty of areas that are suburban. You don't need to come to a rural area. We already have people that are moving in the immediate area, just out, like Social Circle, complaining of the smell. And we have to do something about the smell. They put it on Facebook all the time. So that's all I'm addressing, is the rural issues that we all love and live with because we enjoy it. People that don't want to take care of 2 acres won't even begin to understand, just as Miss Andrea does not understand. She thinks we're concerned with the looks of the house and the fancy sign. She kept saying about the fancy sign. We don't care about any ostentatious sign with big lights. We like to listen to the birds and the frogs and the crickets. We like to look at the stars, which now with the light pollution, we don't get to really see the stars. And the water quality, the runoff.
Yes, ma'am.
Because you're going to concrete over everything.
Okay.
But like I said, not a rhetorical question. I really would like to know why each or any of you, and that's an or any of you, listen more to a developer than you do all of us citizens. Like we're nothing. We're just the peasants.
Well, and you know, I'm just going to say I'm not going to open it up to the people that I serve here with to answer that question. I'll be glad to answer it for you. I'll tell you right where I live, and I approved 2 months ago a neighborhood right across the street. I can stand on my front porch and look where there's going to be a new neighborhood across my street. I'm not doing anything here against you or for you that I haven't done for myself or anyone else. It's not about that. It's about the use of the property, the guidelines of the county, what the guidelines say that the property can be used for, and our determination if that property is suitable to be used at that location. That's simply what we do. Every month we do that. You talk about growth. We don't create growth. Most of us, not most of us, but some of us came from Gwinnett County 30 years ago. I can tell you it looked a whole lot different around my neck of the woods 30 years ago, but we don't create growth. We try to manage it, and we try to do something with it. We try to do the very best that we can with the growth. But, you know, growth is not created by us.
Well, you created if you...
No, ma'am, growth is created. Let me tell you where growth is created. Growth is created in labor and delivery and open borders. I asked a lady a while back, I said, ma'am, do you mind me asking you a few questions? She said, no. I said, how many children do you have? She said, 4. How many grandchildren? 8. How many great-grandchildren? 3. I said, okay, so if I approve a 100-lot neighborhood, your family takes up 1/4 of that neighborhood. She said, I never thought of that. I said, neither is most other people. But it's the truth. We create the growth as we multiply. It's about what are we going to do with it. We try to do our very best. Thank you, ma'am.
It's 10 minutes up.
I know, Tim, I'm past it. But, Sharna, if anyone has something different to say, we will allow you to come up. Please do not repeat. Yes, sir. This gentleman right here, I'm sorry, I apologize to you. I'll get you next, if he don't cover it.
Yeah.
I said, I'll get you next if he don't cover what you need, okay?
Yep.
Okay.
I want to thank the planning board for being here tonight. Well, y'all have no choice. At least thanks for us being in part of this, but Lee,
Please state your name and tell us where you
I'm
live.
Jay Ertley, own property that actually backs up to this development that's here. What I would like to find out is Lee Bradford, he's our representative for our district, is that correct?
Correct.
Is he here?
He will be at the commissioners' meeting next month. We're a recommendations board. We will make a recommendation tonight. That will go to the Board of Commissioners next month. You guys will need to be at that meeting. They will hear this case again in front of them, and they will make the final decision.
Okay, all right then. I want to start out with the lots that you were talking about road frontage earlier, and you had mentioned about the space, whether it could be broke out, how it could be broke out. The property itself was purchased altogether. It was sold altogether.
Correct.
The lots that were broke out in the front, had it been broke out by them, it could have
Correct.
been sold together.
I would have done the same thing.
It was approved by the planning board and the commissioners. for
Sure.
that to happen.
Sure.
Brings to my next question. The property was purchased,
Let me stop you right there. Sharna, the out parcel's done on exemption plat? They never came before any board? Okay. The out parcels are an exemption plat submission, so they don't come before us for approval, nor the Board of Commissioners.
okay, so they kind of created the issue that we're actually at now of,
I don't know that they created an issue. They used the property in the best means they could use the property.
well, no, they actually used the property in the means of putting this other piece of property in a situation that y'all have to make a decision of whether you're going to approve it or not, whereas it could have been developed differently.
Right. But we have seen this very same thing occur all over the county. It's part of good development.
No, I get that. We all lived in Gwinnett County, or not everybody lived in Gwinnett County. You live in Gwinnett County. I came from that. I came out, I bought property.
Okay.
Listen, just hold on.
No, I need something different. I heard this from that lady. I need something different.
Bought property for my children, and I've gave one of them to my child, and I'm giving another one to my child.
I understand.
And I'm doing, that's our thing. We moved from Gwinnett County because of the population
I understand.
growth.
I understand.
So that, when people move away from somewhere, they don't move to go get another half-acre lot in the country. They move away from a half-acre lot because of the population and what's around them.
I understand, sir.
But, let's see. The lawyer, I'm sorry, what was your name?
Andrea Gray.
Andrea Gray. She mentioned that they were going to do lots that were similar to their other development that's over off PJ East. So when you start looking at that development has 3,000 plus square foot homes on acre plus to 2 acre lots. So what she stated to us is not the truth. Am I saying that we're going to get to having 2 acre lots on this? I get it, it's not going to happen. Do we all want that? The people that live there? Absolutely. Does the person that's going to make money off of this, the developer, the builder, the people that own it, they're going after the money side of it.
Exactly.
They don't care nothing about people that live around there, because we all would have been contacted if that was the case, and none of us were. The reality of it is they're not providing what they've told us they're providing. I know that probably doesn't mean anything as far as the fine print on what the county approves and disapproves as far as what y'all approved in, 2022, where you're now allowed this. My request is to not have half-acre lots in there. If you take your green space, which I don't know if you want to bring that up, the green space is kind of thrown way off into the side, up around this 5-acre house, and it's pushed off to the side, and it's just going to be just sitting up there just as raw land, and they created a little 50-foot barrier around there just to say that it is green space, but that's just people's yard. I mean, it don't make no sense to me why the
green space is set aside in a totality, so it will not be developed in any manner.
But what makes,
It will maintain its current condition.
what would make a difference between it being green space or being a part of someone's property?
If you put 2-acre lots, then you're going to have houses in the middle of what they're leaving as green space, so then you're going to disturb
It's
it.
still a green space.
You're going to disturb it with a house. There's not going to be a house in it now.
Are people going to come in and concrete 2 acres of property?
I feel like I answered that question adequately.
No, I don't think you did, because I think
Okay.
you're acting like someone's going to build a house on a whole
Now,
lot.
Sir, I have asked for you to state if there's other things that are different from the other applicants. I'm way over my time frame, and we're going to be,
I didn't want to come at all tonight.
well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you came. I encourage people to come, but we got other people who want to speak, and for us to continue to hear the same thing over and over again doesn't benefit any of us.
Well, I've spoken different on every single situation. Some of mine started out as one. My final discussion was different. The reality is also your zoning board that's up there that actually shows the dates on it is incorrect in front of the property. Those dates are not right. Tonight's date was correct. But the signage that's in,
It was posted for last month in table.
yes, and it was supposed to have been corrected, am I right? How would you know there's new dates?
That's how I'll handle through the planning department.
Okay, so part of it's going to be, so part of this is going to be heard on 1/7/2024?
Yes, it will, by the Board of Commissioners.
24?
Be 25.
That's an error.
That's my point. So
I mean,
I have nothing else to say. The only thing I can request from the board is that you actually look at the green space, look at the lots. We have green space. Everybody has property. Those people that bought 2-acre lots have it too. All I'm requesting is let's not do half-acre and three-quarter acre and start doing to Walton County what we've done to Gwinnett County. It's coming later. I get that. But there's no difference in infrastructure in the last 15 to 20 years. Why are we doing it now? Thank you.
Thank you. Gentlemen, do you still have something different for me, friend? Okay. Well, come up and tell us your name and tell us where you live.
I'm Thomas Carter, and
Thomas?
Thomas
Okay, got you.
Carter.
Thank you, sir.
My wife Jane Carter is out there, and Jane and I operate Greendale Farm, which is located right to the north of this property. Jane's mother died, and Jane inherited the property from her mother. Her brother inherited the subject property here. At the time John sold the property, he was assured, or he was told it was A1, and he did not think it was going to be developed in such a manner. We run a cattle operation on 89 acres right near it, and we were assured that we weren't going to have a high-density subdivision put next to us right there. And I'm just waiting, if we get the thing in here like is proposed, I'm wondering how long I'm going to be able to operate over there. I'll probably be forced out. So I'm against it. I don't say that we shouldn't have a subdivision at all, but we were thinking a lot larger lots than that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else got something different to say? Come up and state your name and share with us your address as well.
My name is Savannah McGuire. I live on Monroe, Jersey, or Jersey Social Circle Road near the Dally Fire Station. Has there been any impact statements or research on how this development is going to affect our resident bald eagle population in the area?
I'm going to assume that probably has not been completed because I don't know, and I've done this this will be like 14 years for me. I don't think that in our county that has ever been anything that was brought up as a concern.
Because there are
for
bald eagles at the Lake Verner Reservoir that use the area to hunt. And,
Right, right. And and I understand that's proximity, but probably I wouldn't think, being that what I know that they feed on probably would not be something that they would come to this area to feed.
And how would the development affect the waterways that they're using?
So all of that's controlled by the county. there will be a stormwater plan submitted to the county, and it has to be approved. And, one of the things that I guess is somewhat taken for granted unless you don't know. I just went a couple of months ago, and I'm only stating this because it's so new, the occurrence. Obviously, I've known about this for a long time, but one of the main factors that have to be considered by the county in stormwater runoff is whatever water falls on this property after it's developed, it can never be in excess of what runs off of this property today undeveloped. Can never be in excess. That's the reason you have retention ponds as collectors that maintain the balance of the water and only allow a portion to flow off of the property. So whatever's flowing off of that property today, it can never be greater than today. An amen on that, Sharna? That is correct. So hopefully that also helps with some other folks that had a similar concern. Wastewater or groundwater runoff, collection runoff from rain is all given consideration in these developments. That's the reason when you see developments, you see retention areas to maintain and hold that water and allow it only to leave at a certain rate. Okay? Thank you. All right. Come up, state your name, tell me your address, and you better have something different, Jody. Okay.
I live on the 25 acres,
What's your name?
just this side of it.
Hey, Jody, state your name and your address, please.
Robert Miller, 1465 Greendale Road, the 25 acres right there. I moved out of Gwinnett about the time he did to get out of this madness. But anyway, is it going to be sewer or is it going to be,
We don't have any sewer in the county.
okay, so you got
It's septic,
you got
yes,
47 septic tanks
yes.
that are going to dump into my well water.
Not really.
Where's
But-
the water going to go?
Well, they're designed in a 25,000, that got increased, did it not, Sharna? Did the 25.5 not get increased? 27, so it used to be 25.5, now it's 27. So 27,000 square feet of a lot has to be set aside for a septic system. That's over a half acre just for the septic and cannot include the site where the house sits. So it goes in and bleeds out into groundwater.
My well.
Jody, you used to live right across the road from me.
I did.
My septic tank never bothered you.
You know,
Come on, man. Come on, man.
dude, there wasn't 47 houses in our back.
Well, if they had been, they would have all had their own system and they all bleach out into the soils and are cleansed right there.
I mean, our property lays straight downhill from that.
I got you.
Their water is well water just like ours.
Yep.
Everybody around it. You know, we told her tonight, 2 acres, and we'll settle for it, because we know they're gonna do it. They're here to make money regardless. They've already bought
They
it.
can't stay in business if they don't. None of us
They'll
can.
develop somewhere else. Or make it.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. With that, I am going to conclude the opposition for tonight.
Excuse me.
Hey, I'm on,
You going to address that?
you got somebody downstairs? All right, how about calling a couple other of the deputies up? So if you guys would, there's no need to be mouthy, okay? And if you want to speak, you can come up here and I'll allow you to speak. But there's no need to be mouthy. We're trying to do a job up here. We're appointed by our commissioners. We agree to do this. Mostly, I will tell you out of love, it's not for financial gain that we do this. And so we would really appreciate if we could get the courtesy that we're trying to extend to you. I'm not blurting out on top of you. I'm not saying adverse things to you. I'm trying to control the meeting. We would like for you to show us that same resolve, okay? I mean, I try to keep everything as intact as I can. I'm not showing anything by calling these guys except they're normally in here, and they normally do it before I ever say anything. They control it before I say anything. They just happen not to be here tonight readily available. So I'm not calling them out for any reason, but I would like for the courtesy to be extended to us that we try to extend to you guys. We'd be very thankful for that. Is there anyone here as a proponent who would like to speak on behalf of this developer or this development? There is none. Andrea, I'll call you back for rebuttal.
I appreciate those of you willing to speak and those that were willing to talk to us when we reached out and those that stood with me on the porch for an hour to talk through things. And I'll just say a couple things. I'll hit some of the highlights of the notes that I took while they were speaking. But desirability is in the eye of the beholder. Some people want 2-acre lots, some want 30 acres, and some want a half-acre lot. And my clients, as you said, they're developers. This is what they do to make a living. This is how they feed their families, how they pay their employees. And of course, you know, they're looking to market properties, and they think that there is a market for these half-acre and a little bit larger lots. With regard to Ms. Warlock, I'm sorry that she didn't get a phone call, but the way she filled out the information sheet, it looked like that was her email address. So we did make an effort to reach out to her. Understand that she works for a competitive builder that's building a massive amount of homes just across the street in that area. So certainly she is very knowledgeable in the development world. She mentioned traffic. We would be happy to work with these folks to lobby the county to reduce the speed limit in that area. We would love to help them do that and to work together on that front to help with that concern. To one other point, I think it was mentioned about the applicant owns the land. The applicant, my client, does own the land, but the builder does not own it yet. And so there is value to us in having it rezoned in order to sell it to the builder. But we're, you know, property owner applicant is how we are processing the application on this particular project. Let's see, the property was for sale. So any of these fine folks could have purchased it and kept it agricultural or developed it for 2 or 5 acre lots. But my client purchased it, and now they're the property owner and the taxpayer, and they are requesting that it be developed as R1 OSC. But again, it could have been purchased by others who wanted to do other things with it. Mr. Ertley said that we had been inconsistent with our information. I take exception to that. Our application, my presentation, information sheet, letter, everything has been consistent across the board with the quality and the size and the materials to be used on our home. So just wanted to hit that. Let's see. Kind of hitting the rant. Bald eagle studies. Bald eagle studies are only required if there's a federal nexus to the project, meaning you're getting a 404 permit or some other federal thing is required there. So we were not required to do that. And to your point, Georgia Soil and Water rules and regulations and county rules and regulations will control any stormwater runoff, septic tank issues, those types of things. Okay, well, I hit the main points that we saw here, and just, you know, in general, you know, we want to develop this R1 OSC. It's consistent with the comprehensive plan. Our plans are consistent and or better than the OSC requirements. It'll be a quality development that will draw new people to this community. It's only 47 lots, so it's not a tremendous impact. Certainly won't upset the cattle on the nearby property. But with that, we respectfully request that you grant our R1 OSC zoning with the 13 conditions that we outlined. Thank you.
Thank you. Any board members have any additional questions for Andrea? Thank you. At this point, I am going to close the public hearing portion of our meeting regarding this particular applicant, and I'm going to ask for a recommendation from the board.
I want to say that I appreciate both sides and for everyone that's come up and spoke their words, and for Andrea, for you putting your side out as well and taking the time to all speak with one another. And believe me that none of us take any of these rezone changes lightly. And with that being said, my recommendation is to approve with conditions, and to simplify with the conditions, I'll just say, as what we already have on record from Snow's Mill, because that encompasses what has been listed here, and to add, but with the few that she had that's a little bit different, of the evergreen plantings on the western property.
Wait, Andrea's got a concern.
They are not exactly consistent with Snow's Mill. There are some differences.
Can we adopt these? Can we adopt these?
Yeah.
Can we adopt the ones that handout that include the trees?
Yeah.
Just adopt these? Okay. Just-
Well, you say that. Go ahead.
So the adoption of the conditions that were listed here are for this development. So we would be adopting the conditions that are presented here. There's 13 conditions that were presented on the screen tonight before us. So that it would be what we would add as the conditions,
Yeah.
the ones that were given to us in our pamphlets. Okay. Tracy, you got that? Okay. Carry on.
That's my recommendation.
Okay, so we have a motion for a recommendation of approval with the 13 conditions that were submitted tonight, which we all have a copy of. Tracy, you've got a copy of those as well. So with that, I'll ask for a second.
Mr. Chair, I second.
I have a second. All in favor, say aye and raise your right hand. Aye. This will carry to the Board of Commissioners, and their meeting will be on the 7th of January. And make sure you guys show up. You'll have an opportunity to speak before 2025, and you'll be able to speak before the Board of Commissioners.
We're going to wait for them to leave. Mr. Chair.
Well, the reason I said that is because.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
The reason I said that was because when she put them up there, I kind of. Oh. Yeah.
This may like.
Well, it's
mess
only
something
because
up,
she
but I'm
took the
gonna
time
pull
to
out my
draft
travel
these.
drive.
And I don't know if she
Because
did
There's so many
others.
of these things I forget and lose.
Yeah, well, and if there's like one thing that needs to be added, then Lee would have the opportunity to add it
Right.
at their meeting, if there's something not included in these 13.
Right.
But what I was saying is because we all received this handout, and
You've all seen it.
we all know what this is, but we can't all recall what Snow's Mill is, so we don't know what we're voting on. Is that fair?
Yes.
Yeah.
You gonna walk them in my car later?
Yeah. Hey, I've been escorted out of here. I went downstairs one night and I started towards the front door and somebody said, Tim. I just kept walking, Mr. Tim. I'm like, turn around and look, it was a deputy.
Oh.
I need you to follow me out this way. There's some folks out front that probably don't want to be around right now. I said, okay, thank you.
What's the shortest lifespan?
Oh, no, I just said I've been doing this 14 years. I ain't got no hair left. The rest of it's great. Okay, we have a continuance of our agenda, so we have new business that we're going to take care of here. As the folks from the earlier zoning requests leave. So next on our agenda for under new business is Z240007 to rezone 5.02 acres from A1 to A to grow and sell produce. Applicant Jacade Long. Owners are Jacade and Rebecca Long. Property's located at 2536 Brindle Farmer Road. And I see that I'm looking directly at you guys. So if you would please step up, state your name, tell us what you're wanting to do there.
See the wall, can't see to read.
I'm with you, brother.
So, set myself up here. My name is Jacade Michael Long. I currently reside at 1051 Jones Road in Watkinsville, Georgia. We purchased 2536 Brindle Farmer Road with the intention to build and to have a small farm. So, and that being said, you can see the site plan above me that's been designed, and it outlines our planning method, our buildings to include home and barns, and then the overall use of the property as a whole. So, anybody here ever heard of a BHAG? Big, hairy, audacious goal? It's the goal that continues to just be in your mind all the time, over and over again. You continue to think about it. This is one of my goals. I grew up on a farm. I grew up in rural areas. I have most recently, within the last 2 years, completed the Journeyman Farmers Program through the Extension Co-op Services. I have had large gardens in inner cities and dispersed and gave food to all my neighbors. I've worked across the United States as a senior disaster program manager, getting to meet all sorts of people that have gone through extreme trauma of loss of properties. And I've worked with the senior population extensively through the fire service here in Georgia. And the goal behind this farming is to be able to sell to market, whether it's restaurants, a CSA, co-op, whatnot, to offset the cost to be able to fill the gaps in those seniors and beyond that are not capable of applying for any type of government or other types of assistance. That market segment is actually growing immensely with inflation that's occurred over the last several years, to the tune of approximately 5.2 million seniors, which that's probably a bit skewed statistic, are facing food insecurities in the United States alone. So, and those same seniors are failing and falling into what's called an assistance gap. So local initiatives like the ones that I'm proposing can help alleviate this issue directly within our community, because we plan to retire out and live our lives here in Good Hope, Georgia, in Walton County. So that's where we're at. So in addition to economic and environmental and community benefits of rezoning the subject property from A1, which allows me to grow food, have chickens, put cows or whatever based on acreage and fenced area, to A, which would allow me one additional benefit of being able to sell to market and then provide food to those that cannot meet the gaps of the decision of medical bills, rising pharmaceutical costs, electrics, utilities, and things of that nature. So the benefits of rezoning the subject property from A1 to A in this proposal carries a unique and meaningful opportunity to support the underserved members of our community. By creating a small farm cooperative on the property, we can establish a direct retail sales model that not only offsets operational costs, but also provides fresh, locally grown food free of charge to that aging population excluded from government assistance programs. This initiative adds significant public value and aligns closely with the broader goals of promoting equity, health, and sustainability. Once again, addressing the needs of an overlooked population through food security for aging adults, healthier aging outcomes, and social inclusion. Direct sales to offset costs would include retail partnerships, selling produce and other goods to local grocery stores and restaurants, provides a reliable revenue stream to offset operational costs. These partnerships also promote local food culture and sustainability. CSA memberships, community-supported agricultural programs, allow residents to pre-purchase shares of the farm's produce, ensuring a steady income for the farm while providing subscribers with weekly fresh food deliveries. Now, this is not a farm where it's come and pick. So we're not talking about a lot of foot traffic, a lot of traffic of any sort on the farm itself, because we will actually go out and sell direct, and we'll create a CSA that delivers. So we're not talking about a bunch of traffic. We're not talking about people wandering around our property picking stuff. We're talking about a program that raises money to offset costs through localized markets and develop partnerships to help feed those that are having to make rough and tough choices. So, broader community benefit is that the small farm cooperative model enabled by rezoning would create ripple effects of positive impact for the entire community. Economic benefits, job creation, boosting local businesses partnering with local restaurants and stores, strengthens ties within the local community and helps reduce dependency on large external suppliers. Health and wellness, access to affordable food, direct sales, reduce middleman costs, making high-quality produce affordable for middle-income families. Educational opportunities would also be seen in the cooperative as it can host workshops and classes on healthy cooking, sustainable farming and gardening, empowering the community with skills to enhance their well-being. It's a social cohesion. It's an equity in food access. By providing free food to underserved seniors, the cooperative promotes fairness and compassion, embodying the principles of just and caring societies. Enhanced sustainability of the property for A zoning. The subject property is uniquely positioned to thrive under an A zoning due to its characteristics of just over 5 acres, has a usable field space of over 90%, and is well suitable farming operations to support both direct sales and charitable initiatives. Proximity to retail outlets, we're right up the road from Monroe, Athens, Watkinsville. I mean, there's a lot of social circle, there's a lot of markets that could be served that would help this initiative. So low impact commercial activity. Small scale agricultural commerce aligns with the rural character and does not disrupt the tranquility of neighboring properties. So right across the street from our property is a nice cattle farm. And every time I go there with my wife and I have the windows down, I say, it smells like money.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, the retail sales model researched by the USDA shows that the farm co-ops working with local restaurants and grocers can achieve revenue sustainability while remaining deeply integrated into the community. It also, on the local level, in the aging population benefits, programs like this help senior farmers market nutrition programs at SFMNP have shown that access to fresh, locally grown produce improves both physical and mental health outcomes for seniors, while increasing their sense of community and involvement. Alignment with public welfare goals. Rezoning the property to A supports the health, safety, and general welfare of the public, meeting board's mandate for responsible community development. Health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Conclusion. A zoning change for a better future. Rezoning this property from A1 to A offers the potential for significant community benefits by empowering the property owner to establish a small farm cooperative. This change will provide free food to underserved seniors, strengthen the local economy, promote health and wellness, build a sustainable food system. This initiative is not just zoning change, it is a strategic investment in our community's future. By approving this request, the board can champion a project that aligns with our shared values, compassion, sustainability, and vitality. These are some statistics. In 2023, nearly 15.4% of rural households, including seniors, experienced food insecurity, often driven by inflation and rising costs. Additionally, approximately 14% of seniors have skipped meals to manage expenses, and nearly half express concern about affording groceries and household necessities in the future. Those statistics were cited by Where You Live Matters, Paying for Senior Care, and Food and Research Action Centers. Increased costs due to inflation. Seniors are spending hundreds of dollars more monthly on essentials like food and energy. Nearly 75% reported food cost increase of at least $100 per month, with 13% spending over $300 more a month. Paying for senior care, utility costs have also risen, with some reducing heat or delaying medical care to save money. When I worked in Rockdale County, I was a community risk reduction officer. I did a lot of work with the senior center there. One of my jobs that I took pride in was actually going and testing smoke alarms for people that were shut-ins, and they were by themselves. When I would visit with them, and it was a visit, I would test their smoke alarms. I would have conversations with them about escape plans if their house caught on fire, what they could do, what they should do, how they could reduce hazards in their house. And then I would sit and talk with them. Most of them are never visited, and many of them were barely paying for their homes. But they could not receive assistance because they owned a car and they owned a house, because their spouse and themselves worked their whole lives to earn these things. And now that they're at their end of their life cycle, trying to enjoy life, they were making very, very tough decisions on what they were going to pay for next. And I heard these stories over and over and over. And so during the COVID period, I made multiple phone calls to people that I had developed relationships with in the business market of Rockdale County, along with government there as well. My major concern was the people that were able to attend the senior centers. The majority of them, that was their meal for the day. They had a restaurant there, and they were served a meal. That was their meal for the day. That was also their social outlet. And now all of these people were locked into their homes. So I go back to BHAG, Big Hairy Audacious Goal. So in looking at all of this, when you're talking about 47.4 million people living in food insecure households, to include not only the aging but also children, there's a lot to be said. That is the goal of this proposal, and that is my request as a whole.
Thank you, sir. I want you to stand right there for me 1 second. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? No one. So then I would bring it back for rebuttal. Obviously, there's nothing for you to rebut.
Yes, sir.
I kind of wish that the folks who were here earlier would have stayed,
So they could.
where they could hear someone who wants to be in the county, one, that wants to farm. I moved to this county 30 years ago to farm, and I farmed. Didn't matter what was next door to me, as long as I have my property to farm on. But I may get you to sign a document that states that one day they could be something different besides you.
No, actually, I know that there could be something different.
Okay.
My wife and I had that conversation.
I'm just saying, that's a joke.
And
I mean,
I'll say this, in direct alignment with what you're stating, okay? And I'm not trying to take any of the more, past the 10 minutes, but right across the street from me is a cattle farm, and like I said, there's money. Well, if you look at the zoning for that, if that was ever sold off, it could be developed, because the zoning's in place.
True.
So there's the head of the property,
Right,
directly across.
right. And so while ago, you didn't want to get up and run, knowing that,
No.
no, okay. All right. I just want
This is what I understand in life.
to, yeah, thank you,
People
sir.
have voices, they have complaints, and there's
Yes, sir.
answers.
What all are you planning on planting?
Any questions for the applicant?
What are you planning on that,
Sir?
on your farm? What all are you planning to plant?
Yes, sir. So the front corridor of the property will be planted in shrubs and trees that will bear fruits. The middle section of the property will be approximately 1.5 acres, will be planted in raised beds using a variety of methods of planting to yield the largest harvest possible, which would include planting methods like hugelkultur, which is a German raised bed that requires very little watering because of the way things are planted and the woody debris that's planted with it. And then the rear of the property will be planted in nut-bearing trees, which all will enhance the wildlife area as well, which my neighbors seem to enjoy a lot. So,
Thank you.
So how many people are you planning to employ? That's a
how many
tremendous.
people? It'll be my family right off the bat. So I'm very capable of working.
Tim's wanting to make sure you plant something he can eat. That's what, yeah.
I grew up around tomato farms.
Well,
You're going to have to have tomatoes then. We ain't going to get nowhere
I
without
planted a whole lot of tomatoes.
Hundreds.
That way. So, if you want to have a tomato sandwich, I'm sure we can make you one.
Well, if you ever heard of a
Ready to
place
go.
called St. Helena Island, look up Sea Island Farms.
Sea Island Farms. Yes, sir, I'll be glad to do that.
Any additional questions?
I guess, I saw where the one part was talking about the intimate, having the lessons and things like that. and saying 8 to 10 people, I assume you have enough parking area for that.
Yes, there will be an area that they can park.
Okay.
Yeah, but it won't be like a parking lot. I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a large driveway there designed, and actually that concrete will go around over to the front side of that barn on the right-hand side of the house from your viewpoint.
And it'll just be produce.
Produce,
Yeah.
that's it. Yeah, I don't need to get into meat. It's across the street.
There's a lot over there.
Thank you.
That's right.
Any additional questions? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
I did miss asking if there's anyone here to speak on behalf of this applicant.
You did ask.
Oh, yeah.
On behalf. Yeah, not against. Come on, guys.
You did ask that.
I asked if there was anyone in opposition.
I thought I heard.
Now I'm asking if there's anyone who is a proponent, and there's not, and I've had rebuttal, and I will take something from somebody, a recommendation or an amen, one of the two.
I'll go with both.
Okay.
Amen. And then, also I recommend to approve case number Z24-0007
As submitted.
as submitted.
Thank you.
Amen.
Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. You guys will go to the Board of Commissioners on the 7th of next month,
2025.
2025. Next on the agenda is Z240022, rezone 3.84 acres from A1 to A2 to create 2 buildable lots. The applicant is Blue Wolf Homes LLC. Lucan?
Yes, sir.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
I'll get up. When you leave, you give me a pat on the back, okay? And the property is located at 6300 Highway 81. Tell us what your plans are there, and state your name and address for us as well.
Yes, sir. My name is Andre Lucan. Address, I live in Auburn. And FYI, I wish my presentation was half as good as theirs. So. But we just want to build 2 homes, one for my father, one for me, and they're going to be up to code and up to ordinance and all that stuff, so whatever they need to be done. Yeah. And they're going to be on septic and the water from the county.
Okay. Do you have any idea of the square footage of homes y'all plan to?
Yes, they're going to be 4,200 square feet, 4 to 42. It just decide if we put 2 extra rooms or not, but it's going to be anywhere from 4,000 to 4,000.
Above grade, not including the basement, above grade?
They're not on basement.
Okay, so they'd be 4,000 above grade. Okay. All right. Any other questions for the applicant? I'm going to ask you to stand there for just a second. Is anyone here in opposition to this request? No. So is there anyone here to speak on behalf of this applicant? No. So I'll bring it back to you for rebuttal, which you don't have to rebut because there's nothing there. So, sir, we appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir.
Have a good evening. And with that, I will bring it back to the board for a motion. And I would like to make a motion on Z240022 for approval as submitted. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. 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 This will be the Board of Commissioners next month. You're welcome.
He was giving you the pack.
Oh, thank you. One of those virtual pats,
Yes.
right? Yeah, thank you.
I passed it on for him.
Thanks, I appreciate that. Next on the agenda is Z240023. This is a request to rezone 2 acres from A1 to A for a dog training and customer contact, for dog training and customer contact. The applicant, Hadley Reed. I said that right too, didn't I, Hadley? God, I'm getting good.
Gold star.
Gold Star. Property is located at 2958 HD 8th Road. If you would please, ma'am, state your name and address and tell us what your plans are for this property.
Hi, my name is Hadley Reed Santos. I live at 2958 HD 8th Road. It's a 2-acre tract. We are requesting to rezone the current property from A1 to A. I'm a professional dog trainer for about 8 years now. I worked with a company called Comprehensive Pet Therapy located in Atlanta. We do a lot of service dog training, pet training, MRI studies with Emory as well. And so I've worked with them, did my apprenticeship with them. And recently, me and my family moved out here about 1.5 years ago and purchased this 2-acre tract. And I just am wanting to continue what I am doing and, start serving this area as well. I am looking to put in a non-permanent building. I've talked with Westwood Sheds in Monroe about putting in like about a 16 by 50 cabin shed building. That way I can have an office space to meet with. A lot of my clients have autism and other disabilities, so being able to meet in a space that's safe and closed rather than a lot of times I meet them at their own homes or we meet local parks. I met a mother and her daughter at Target today, but sometimes we need an area that's, like I said, enclosed, safe, because a lot of them like to bolt, and where distractions are low compared to being in a public area. And so I'm looking to have that space on my own property to serve them. I obviously want to climatize the building, and I'd like to add just a small half bath, so there may be required a small septic tank in the back, because where we're going to put it on the property, I don't think we'd be able to tie it into our current septic tank, based on what I've discussed with with a septic tank professional. The primary use of the building will be office space. Also, that way I can have better separation from work and home. And I have 2 young daughters, so traveling as much as I do from the city and everything is tough, so being able to have clients come to my home will be extremely helpful on that end. And like I said, I train a lot of service dog, companion dogs, show dogs. They all live in households. I don't keep like outdoor kennels. There's no plans to have any outdoor kennels like barking dogs, anything like that. Any dogs that I have on property are always kept in a crate or household setting. And this building, I just want to have an area where I'm simulating a household setting for training. And like I stated before, just giving a space that's enclosed, climatized, out of the weather, so we can train with clients and their dogs. Working on young dogs learning household manners without intruding on my own home and my own family and dogs. Safe space for clients with disabilities to come and receive training with low distractions. I only will have, if I have clients come to my property, it's only 1 client at a time, maybe a couple of times a week. There won't be any extended, huge parking issues or clients coming in and out constantly. I'm a small operation. It's just me. Like I said, I do work with a company in Atlanta called Comprehensive Pet Therapy that will send me clients, but that's, like I said, that's their space. This is my space. They just send me clients, and we do all of our service dog documentation through them as well. But yes, there won't be any extra traffic. I don't need any signage outside or anything like that. And like I said, there won't be any outdoor kennels, loud noises. I don't have huge kennel runs or anything like that. If I have dogs on property, it's like 1 to 2 dogs at a time. And so, any questions?
Thank you. I greatly appreciate that. Is there any questions for the applicant?
It'll just be you running it, correct?
Yeah, it's just me, and like I said, I do board training, so at times there are service dog puppies. I start out when they do our service dog program. Sometimes they'll stay for periods of time for seizure detection, even just starting off the puppies from the breeder doing household stuff. But like I said, it's a very low number. They're not kept outdoors. If they are, they go out to potty they play, they come back inside. So no outdoor kennels, no loud barking or anything like that for neighbors and stuff.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Anyone here in opposition to this request? Is there anyone who would like to speak on behalf of this young lady? So you have nothing to rebut, once again, which is a good thing.
Hey, I'm happy about that.
So I'm going to close the public portion of this. Thank you so much for your presentation. And I will bring it to the board for a recommendation.
My recommendation for case number Z 24-0023 is for approval as submitted.
Mr. Chair, second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye. Aye. Thank you. And Hadley, this will go to the commissioners on the 7th of next month, okay? Best of luck out there.
Sean, are we electing Tim again this year?
Let me ask you something, Hadley. Did you feel love? Yeah. Okay. So,
Chair.
right.
Chair.
I mean, we do offer love. Yes, we do.
Yeah. And then when they all walked out, you're like, they're not for me. Hallelujah.
Thank you, Hadley, so very much.
You too.
Anyone have any public comment?
I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and
Yes,
New Year.
yes. Very, very Merry Christmas. Wesley Sis, go ahead.
I'm about to starve.
I've already gotten the text from you, so,
I make a motion that this
poor
meeting-
guy. All right, with that, is there anyone who, and by the way, reiterate, very, very Merry Christmas to each and every one of you and your families. Would someone like to give me a motion for adjournment?
I do.
Oh, second.
I second.
All in favor, raise your right hand and say aye.
Aye.
Thanks, guys.